In this video, we're going to take a look at factorising quadratics. So we can factorise quadratics by using double brackets. The way that we do this is by using something called team. Let's just write team at the top here. So team isn't anything particularly fancy. All it does, it tells us how we factorise a quadratic. So the way that it does that is we times to get the end number here. We times to get the end number. We also need to be able to add to get the middle number. So add here to get the middle number. Okay, let's put this into practice here. Let's say that we want to factorise. So that we want to factorise this following quadratic. So let's say we want to factorise here x squared plus 5x plus 6. So here we need to find two numbers now that we can times together and get positive 6. Also add together to get positive 5 here. So to begin with, just pick two numbers that will multiply together to give us positive 6. But in this case, there's only two options we can have. We can have negative 2 and negative 3. But we could also have positive 2 and positive 3. Okay? So we start with minus 2 and minus 3. Well, if we multiply those numbers together, we get positive 6. So it works for multiplication. We can times to get the end number. But when we add these numbers together now, will that give us positive 5? Well, minus 2 plus minus 3, that's just the same as minus 2 minus 3. Well, that would give us minus 5. So we need to get positive 5 here. So notice the sign is different, so it doesn't add to give us the middle number. So minus 2 minus 3 doesn't work. So in that case, then the two numbers here will be 2 and 3. Because 2 times 3 gives us 6, positive 6 there. And then 2 plus 3 gives us positive 5. So we found the two correct numbers here, but now we actually want to factorise. So here we're putting this now into double brackets, like so. The variable that we're working with here is for x, so I'm going to put an x at the front of both of these brackets here. That would give us the x squared here. And now the remaining part to each of these brackets here is nice and easy. That comes from the two numbers here that we've identified. It'll be x plus 2, because we've got positive 2 here. My next bracket will be x plus 3 here. Because again, we identified positive 3 here as one of the numbers. And there you have it. So we factorise here x squared plus 5x plus 6. That gives us these double brackets here. Okay? And you can actually verify the solution here by expanding this. So just like we saw in the previous video, when you expand double brackets, if you expand this here, you'll get a quadratic. And if you expand this correctly here, you'll get this quadratic here. Okay? I would recommend that you have a go at that, double check that you get the same quadratic here. Now, if we just take a look at one special case here, this is what we call the difference of two squares. Like we said, this is for the difference of two squares now. Difference here of two squares. What do we mean here by the difference of two squares? Well, let's say that we want to factorise here. Factorise, let's say we've got a squared minus 9. Okay. So here, I can factorise this now into double brackets, just like we've seen for this quadratic here. But what you might notice is this looks significantly different. We have no middle term for this quadratic here. Okay, the middle term here is equal to 0. So we will get double brackets here. And the actual method for this, once you know the trick here, it's actually easier than we've seen for this example here. So for a squared minus 9, the easy way to factorise this, well, the variable that we're working with here would be a. We're going to get an a at the front of both of these brackets, like so. And now, take a look at the last number here, this minus 9. So ignore the minus sign here. Okay, think about this number as positive. If you were to take the square root of that number, square root of 9 here, that would give you 3. Okay, so in that case then, I can write this here as a plus 3. And then we take the other sign here of a minus 3. Okay, and we actually just quickly verify what happens here. When we expand these double brackets, I'm going to get a times a. That would be a squared. A times minus 3. That would be minus 3a. Then we do 3 times a, which would give us positive 3a. So plus 3a. And then finally, positive 3 here times negative 3, that would give us minus 9. And what you'll notice is when we simplify now, these two terms here in the middle, they cancel. Okay? What we get left with then is a squared minus 9. Okay? And this is an example now of the difference of two squares. A squared here, that's squared, and 9 here is a square number. So we're subtracting. Remember, that's just the difference here. We call that the difference of two squares. Okay? So hopefully you recognize this form here. It does crop up quite a bit. So again, keep an eye open for that. That's everything we need there for our introduction to factorising quadratics. What we're going to do now is just take a look at some practice questions. Starting off with question 1 now, we're asked to factorise x squared plus 6x plus 5. So again, to factorise this quadratic here, I'm just going to simply use team. We'll just write team down here. So what I need here is two numbers that we can times together. So we can times to get the end number, so positive 5, add to get the middle number. So let's just write down the quadratic here. We've got x squared plus 6x plus 5. So what we need to do here to begin with is just find two numbers that we can times together to get positive 5. So we've got two options here again. I could either have 1 and 5, or we could have minus 1 and minus 5. Okay? So we start off with 1 and 5. Well, 1 times 5 would give me positive 5. So that works. And if we add these together, 1 plus 5, we get positive 6. So we found the two numbers that we need here. That'll be 1 and 5. So now we factorise this here. We're now putting it into two brackets here. Like so. Working with the variable x here. So we're going to have an x at the front of both of these brackets. Like so. And in this case then, my two numbers here that would go inside the bracket would be positive 1. So it'd be plus 1. And it will be positive 5. So x plus 5 there. Okay. And there we have it. So we factorise x squared plus 6x plus 5. We get bracket of x plus 1 and the bracket of x plus 5 there. Okay. So there we have it. So that's the solution to question 1. Moving on to question 2 now, we're asked to factorise y squared minus 3y minus 4. So let's just write down the quadratic here. Got y squared minus 3y minus 4. So again, to factorise this quadratic here, we're going to use team. So team here, we need two numbers that we can times together to get the end number, which would be minus 4, but add together to get minus 3, the middle number. So we need two numbers here that we can times together to get minus 4, and there's a few different options you can pick here. So I can pick minus 2 and 2. They will times together to give me minus 4. I could also have minus 1 and 4. Or I could also have minus 4 and 1. Okay, so there are a few different options that we need to work through here. So minus 2 times 2 would give us the minus 4. If we add these together here, we'd get 0. Okay, but it's not this one. Minus 1 and 4 now. Well, minus 1 times 4. So minus 1 times 4, that will give us a minus 4. If we do minus 1 plus 4, that gives us positive 3. We want with this option here. So finally then, minus 4 times 1 gives us minus 4. And minus 4 plus 1 gives us the minus 3. We found the two numbers that we need here. So now then, if we factorise this here, remember we now factorise this into double brackets. We'll place our double brackets here, like so. The variable that we're working with here is y. We're going to have a y at the front of both brackets, like so. And then my two numbers here would be minus 4. We get y minus 4. We're also going to get positive 1 there. So y plus 1. And there we have it. So that's our solution there to question 2. Taking a look here at question 3, we're asked to factorise b squared minus 6b minus 27. So again, to factorise this quadratic here, I'm going to use team. So here we need to find two numbers that we can times together. So we can times together to get the end number, would be minus 27. Also add together, get my middle number here of minus 6. So let's just write down the quadratic here. So we've got b squared minus 6b minus 27. So two numbers here now that will times give us minus 27. And again, there's a few different options here. So I could also work with minus 27 and 1. They will times together to give me minus 27. We could also have positive 27 and minus 1. We could have minus 9 and 3. We could also have minus 3 and 9 there. Okay. What I'm going to do here now is just work my way through this list and just identify which would be the correct pair here. Well, if we work with minus 27 and 1, they will multiply to give me minus 27. Minus 27 times 1 is minus 27. If we add those together here, we get minus 26 rather than minus 6. So it's not going to be my top choice here. So this pair here is incorrect. And the same will also be true here for 27 and minus 1. They will times equals minus 27. When we add those together here, we get 26 rather than minus 6. So again, they're incorrect. Working our way now through the next pair here of minus 9 and 3. So minus 9 times 3, that gives us minus 27. Perfect. And then when we add these together here, minus 9 plus 3 gives us minus 6. Perfect. We found the correct choice here. We've got the pair of numbers here. So now we factorize here b squared minus 6b minus 27. Again, we're going to get double brackets here, like so. So here we're working with the variable b, so we'll get a b at the front of both brackets, I should say, like so. Then my two numbers here, well, that would be minus 9 in one of them, like so. And we'll also get plus 3 here, positive 3 in the other bracket. And just a quick point here, because the order of multiplication doesn't matter, it doesn't matter whether we write b minus 9 times b plus 3, or whether we write b plus 3 times b minus 9. Okay, so whether we write the brackets in the other way, it doesn't matter, the answer is still correct. Okay, so there we have it. So that's our solution there to question 3. And finally then, if we take a look at the very last question here, question 4, we're asked to factorize z squared minus 144. Now normally to factorize a quadratic like this, we'd say we need to use team. Okay, so we'd say that we normally need to use team here. But for this question, you can notice that we've got the difference of two squares here. You don't even need to use team. We've got z squared minus 144. So hopefully what you notice here straight away is 144 is a square number because I've got a square here, z squared, minus another square here, 144. You can apply the difference of two squares. Okay. So when we factorize this here, we do get double brackets. Like so. We're working with the variable z here. We'll get a z at the front of both of these brackets like so. But now, how do we identify the numbers that go inside the brackets here? Well, we take this number at the very end. So we take the positive of that number. We're going to take 144 and find the square root of that number. The square root of 144 here, well, that would give us 12. That means one of these will be positive 12, so z plus 12. And the other would be negative 12. So we're going to get z minus 12 there. Okay, and there we have it. Again, you can verify this solution here by expanding this, so using FOIL or the grid method, whichever you prefer. But expand, simplify, and you should get z squared minus 144 there. Okay, but there we have it. So that's the solution to question 4. That brings the end of this video on factorising quadratics. In the next video, we're going to take a look at exam revision for expanding and factorising quadratics.